Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're back with part 11 of our Ostranauts stream. We're going to try to get some our quests slash goals, gigs, whatever you want to call them, out of the way. And uh, while I was offline there, I discovered that the problem was with the zone. Of course, user error is always the problem in these situations. So um, we're going to unpause the world. We're going to go fix that and then come back and we got about 15 more minutes when we can talk to the license kiosk on our license. We're going to talk to the fixer in that time, just see what kind of prices one versus the other might offer us. So here we go. Back to the port. So even this zone one is not showing up for some reason, but the other one just flat disappeared. So I'm going to start with that real quick. That's our bridge zone. And okay, rename this puppy. Okay, and we'll be able to bark there. Now, outside, really only trying to select tiles that are, open floor. In other words, no walls or anything. So subtract a couple bits here. So I think everything else is kosher, and then this is just raw space, even though it says airlock. But this has got a floor in it and is legitimately part of our ship. We're here and here. I think that's it. Okay. And okay. Well, let's go visit. Actually, I want to open that up just one more time and check it. Because once we're inside the station, we can't. Which is kind of annoying, actually. Yeah. Thing looks good. I can while I'm still on this part of the station. As soon as we get another screen, it's a quote another ship. So, so for instance, let's look at what the licensed seller. See, the zone 1 is still not showing up. Not quite sure why that is, but this is the main one that we're concerned with. So we bought this for about 4,000. This wasn't a great deal selling it to the licensed kiosk. Uh, it might have cost us $100 in parts, a little time to fix it up, but we would clear a couple thousand to if we sold it here. Hopefully the fixer will be interested in buying it. Spoiler alert, I know the answer to that, and it's probably no. Uh, but we could either hold it for when he uh, when he might want it later, or we could just go ahead and sell it. Usually, I'm going to just I figure space is money, so I'm going to go ahead and probably just come back here and sell it before our 15 minutes runs out. Let's go see what the that we have that the fixer might be interested in. Okay. Now, I am going to go ahead and grab that suit. And see what he might like. I was hoping he'd want these doors, or at least the one we've already fixed. He does want the thruster, and you notice he's given us kind of a nice price for it. So, although we'd like to put that on our own ship and increase our ability to zip about, we're going to go ahead and take the 4,000 right now. He doesn't want the treadmill right now, as I expected. He will take the Kang. Again, the intake regulator. Again, we might want to install that on our own ship, but we've got one. As long as we've only got one thruster, that's about what we need. So I'm going to get rid of that. See what's in this bin. I do want to keep these two items. He doesn't want it anyway. I do want to keep the mini battery because this could be my emergency power supply for now. I'll step up to the sort of intermediate size as soon as I build up the ship a little bit. But this is basically what we're going to do is clear $6,000, which I know is behind me, and you can't see that, but that's almost paid for the suit we just bought. The suit's going to improve our quality of life a lot. Okay. And there is that lovely, lovely view. Uh, Point. Sweet. Now, we can't wear the backpack now, but fortunately we can tuck it inside our crates. And you can see what we've got. Fortunately, this came with a nearly full bottle. Uh, it also came with a brand new CO2 filter that'll basically last forever, but just for verisimilitude, I always carry around a spare one. And came with a battery. We're going to want to carry a spare battery as well so that we can swap one out if we get low. And although this will last quite some time, I like to carry a spare bottle so we can swap it out as well. Let's head back with our few precious minutes here and see what we can unload at the licensed kiosk and get a little more money so that we can go ahead and get that helmet, those other odd bits and bobs. This is going to improve our quality of life a lot. This is the main reason why we didn't stick around the station and do enough gigs to actually get a suit in the first place is because we found that license unexpired with enough time on it that we could get out there and actually do a run before it expired, and that's what we've done. Even though we had to labor with the pretty minimal suit that didn't have an internal air supply. So head back to the port. Just in case. Anything fun. We just got 4,000 for one of these from the fixer. So I am going to go ahead and grab that. He might still be paying that amount, or he may not care anymore. This is probably worth it too, but I'm not confident enough in that. I mean, sure, what the hell. And I need that air pump. I can actually afford it at this point. I'd really like to find one, but I do want to go ahead and get a nitrogen canister installed. Let's go ahead and wait till we find it. It's working well enough, and we've got our own suit now, so it's not as big a concern. We could actually just turn the atmosphere off so that we're not wasting oxygen when we're, except when we're traveling. So there's my extra O2 bottle. Again, for verisimilitude, I like to carry a spare one of these and spare battery. Really want a truck. Still got the money for it. Let's do that. I think I blew, but there it is. So if we bought it from the regular kiosk, we paid about 7,000. We saved a couple thousand. We didn't get a helmet, but hey, now we got one. Let's look at our cost versus our money. Looks pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and execute that trade. Now, the one thing about the truck is you can't put the crates inside, but just about anything else will go inside. There are a few what are deemed oversized items that will not. We're gonna have to put new old suit back. Just a second, I think we could just put the helmet on to accomplish this. Enough to grab our new helmet, which should have gone out here. Yeah, there it is. And also our battery. somewhere we should also have a filter, but I'm not seeing it. All right. Now, nice thing is, okay, so this is one of the oversized items. Of the, I thought this was a intake, but it's actually a rack which won't go in. Some bins will, but a thruster will. This canister will. Basically, all I'm really doing here is trying to create enough room to set this down. Let's see if we got it now. Yeah. Okay. And there were a couple stray items in here. Nope. That one's good to go. I can't see this on the screen. Because it's forked. Okay. So we can install that. In, they're good because they don't take any floor space, but for now I'm just going to sell it. And I prefer a different version that will hopefully run across. Once I've got some walls and things to stick it on, airlocks to put it in. I like to have a couple of those in an airlock so that I can throw a suit in there, some weapons, just general things that you might want to have in an airlock to repel a boarding party or otherwise act on things. So I'm going to, yeah, it's not going to let us. We need to go inside, put a real suit on, and our quality of life will dramatically improve here. Hopefully that is the last time we take that helmet off. And okay, now one thing about the good suit is it does occupy the backpack slot. Uh, so you lose that, but remember you can just pop a backpack into the crate, which you carry one in each hand. I usually just carry one. There is my helmet. So I've got a battery, I've got a oxygen. Do want a light, which I thought I had. So let's do it for a sec. Perhaps not. So do my old suit. No. Down here. Okay, so here's my phone. Here's my ticket, which is about, oh, there's my light. So I put the light on the clip point, or actually know where it is. And in this little backpack, we're dangerously close to the end of our time here with a live ticket. I also like to carry, as I said, the bare necessities for life support, which is an extra bottle, a CO2 filter, and a spare battery. Just a second, check to make sure I've got, yeah, see, I've got the one with the tools and the backpack in it, which means that's the one I want to typically carry around. Take these back inside. I mean, out in the vacuum on my ship veranda. I have room to set the crate down right this second. It's okay. We can sell directly out of it if we want to. I just like to keep it to one crate at a time. Okay. Take my helmet off. Let's do that real quick. Although you will definitely see people wandering around the station with their helmet on. Some tools. Well, this is probably stuff I need. Looks like it. It's got a full charge, but you can't fix the condition. I've got nearly a full charge there, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and sell that one. Just get rid of it. Laying out there, probably under something. You will buy this, even though the fixer wouldn't. I want to hold on the M2 canister because I'm going to install that. Although it's not so critical now that I have a full suit. I'm going to hold on to this. Can get rid of this piece of garbage. I mean, you can hold on to it as a backup, like an emergency backup. If your suit gets injured in combat or destroyed in combat, which can and will happen. That's my spare crowbar, so I'm going to get rid of that. I think I am going to, again, just in the interest of verisimilitude, keep this for now as a backup. Doesn't take up any significant space. Get rid of that rack. Get rid of that bulkhead bin. All right. Now, I think that's everything we want to deal with right this second, but I'm going to just jump back in and look at it again now that we've cleaned out the stuff we know we want to get rid of. So it's good to have a spare drill. Well, is that actually a spare? Yes. Charge. Yes. The door's still damaged, even though it's like new. Okay. And maybe fix it wouldn't buy the door, because a lot of time they will. I want to patch those up. But I'm done with the I'm done with the license kiosk for now. So it doesn't matter that my license is about to expire. Got a nice pad. Keep my mortgage afloat for a few days if necessary. Got money to buy food if we get hungry. Got some water. Uh, Still in slight pain. I don't think we picked up any medication. Could go buy some, but see what that's from. Mild headache. Probably from running out of oxygen a lot lately. So that should go away over time, especially after we sleep. We keep that treadmill, we can train away the unfit to fit, and then or to regular, and then train the regular to fit. There is another machine we can use to do the same with the feeble. Fragile, you're pretty much stuck with. But if we can get rid of those two, that'd be awesome. Pretty much everybody starts with those. So metabolism isn't necessarily a positive, but I think of it as a positive because we don't get as hungry as often. On this character, we did get rid of the bad eyesight. Hard to tell whether that's really helping us or not, but I wanted to do it just for the hell of it because I've never done it before. All right, let's put that helmet back on. We're going to be spending a lot of time out here right now. Let's say I might immediately need that space, so maybe that wasn't the best plan. 100%. Here's our bottle. So we want to put that in here. So now we've got it again, completely unnecessary spare CO2 filter, very necessary O2 bottle, and very, very necessary battery for our new fancy suit. We've got this gonna expire in seconds if it hasn't already. Permits, we'll throw that down in a minute. Got some flooring that we're gonna go ahead and actually buff up and install somewhere. I am gonna put the backup suit here. I like that idea. Let's get this down so that we can fix it. Go ahead and buff this up too. Probably sell these shortly now. As soon as we can find a backpack, a real backpack, and not they don't really give you a huge advantage. You just add weight without much additional capacity. Kind of awkward. So, this knife in our backpack. Right. That's our minimum emergency equipment and a basic tool to get us through doors. Yeah, if we have to uninstall a door, what do we need? Let's see what it says here. Structure cutter. So that's the this is puppy. So let's go ahead and put that in our backpack since that gives us a minimal option for moving around if we inadvertently get see what we need to go through a wall. Basically the same basic idea. We need the screwdriver to uninstall it. We need the cutter if we're going to scrap or dismantle it. No, we need a cutter. So we really need the screwdriver in here too. Well, we really need a bigger backpack. So let's go ahead and do that right this second. And anytime you can get a brand new backpack out of here, pretty much it's worth the money. I saw the cart, but I did not see the backpack. I usually have a pretty sharp eye for that. I do want to pick up the battery. The Pro toolbox is the Halverson toolbox is a little better than the crap toolbox, but not so much better than it makes it worth its while for the space it takes up. Um, the backpack is really the gold standard for carrying things around, and your goal is basically to have that crate that you carry around all the time full of backpacks, including one that's your sort of emergency backpack, which has your basics in it. Okay, we're gonna do a little auto task here and repair. So it's working on the door, which we had already told it earlier to do. That's good. Now it's fixing that motor, or it was giving the motor parts. It's back on the door. I've noticed that if I get everything off the screen, this hitches less when you're on when you're on the max speed. I don't know if it's specific to my setup, which is a little unique since I'm actually operating on a Mac laptop um, through crossover uh, and then a Windows version of Steam, and then of course the game. Uh, if you're interested in how that works, I have a video on YouTube about it. It's Ocelot of War streams, and it's the very first video. The others are what I've released so far of this series. Uh, Basically, I got crossover, and it has a 7-day free trial, which is pretty awesome. I tried it. I did one free trial on my previous machine just as a proof of concept, and then when I bought this current machine, I immediately did it again just to make sure that it worked. And the the three games I basically bought it for were, and you pretty much ignore the proximity alarm when you're in port. Um, but I like to flip the alarm off. You just got to remember to turn it back on. Untime. Fourth shift ends, and the change in the atmosphere is unmistakable. I love the idea of this. Shipbreakers stop sparking their hand torches. Long armed construction welders drop their grip and drift away from the wrecked hulls. 2 clicks out, a cargo hauler cuts its reactor, and the rig burns down like a cold ember in the dark. Untime. The closest anyone out here will ever get to a Sabbath. 20 minutes and 58 glorious seconds welded to the end of shift 4. Seemingly insignificant stretch of time remaining like loose change after the rest of the hours are divided, counted, and spent. In the beginning, untime was merely a quirk of the new celestial calendar, a more even way to divide the year now that humanity has uncoupled itself from Earth and its overwrought lunar calendar. But that was decades ago. These days, untime is for rest, for conversation, or for anything at all that won't turn a buck for the bosses. As for the managers who choose not to observe this fine tradition, 2 weeks ago, one of them fell from a labor barge and hit every ship on the way down in a vacuum. Yeah, yeah, because you can fall in a vacuum. Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess you could, uh, but it's maybe a pinball sort of action between the labor barges, if you got going good enough. Anyway, that's our story, and we're sticking to it. I love the idea of this. I really think we just ought to implement that here. So I'm going to continue to work right through it because I'm my own employer right now, but I will be taking a rest break so that I don't get a cranky personality. Do want to look at finances real quick. They don't kick in until the new shift starts. I do like to go ahead and pay uh, as long as we don't fast time, uh, we shouldn't actually get more dock fees. Um, but the mortgage will continue, and if you fail to pay it by the end of the shift, it will give you a penalty. And to avoid that, I always just try to pay the mortgage right away as soon as it's available to pay. You can also pay ahead on the mortgage, but it doesn't give you any grace until you're pretty much in a position to make a significant dent, say 50% or more. So in this case, I'd probably want to make sure I can pay at least 200,000 toward this uh, uh, before I really did a pay ahead, and leave myself with a modest cushion in the bank of 100,000 or so. It's, think because we got such a crappy ship on this run, which ideal, actually, for our purposes to have the be eggshell because it's relatively cheap. Our mortgage is not overly burdensome at $1,000 a shift. All right, let's just pause and keep working. Next time we take a break, I'll flip that switch off because it's just annoying. Now that they fixed the bug where ships actually ram you in port, uh, wish they would just have it automatically switch off when you're docked with the station. But everything in this game is clunky and manual, and that's kind of the point. um, One of the splash screens when you're loading it up talks about how the aesthetic is what's known as cassette tape futurism or cassette futurism. Uh, so think of, like the original Star Trek where they're using clipboards and they flip open a communicator and there's diodes in it and stuff. It's kind of the aesthetic they're looking for. They said they weren't even aware of that term until somebody pointed it out to them. I think the jukebox, which is fun because it adds some more music to the game, uh, and you can set which it is, or just have it kind of rotate. I'm hoping they do more with that. Um, the jukebox, I believe, has CDs on it, which is retro enough at this point, but it's not as retro as if it was a real old time jukebox with like 8 tracks in it or something. Yes, I can remember when 8 tracks still existed. They were increasingly rare, but they still existed. All right. Let's see what we still need to work on here. He's working on the ship itself, which I don't mind, but it's not really how I want to spend my time right this minute. Actually, I kind of do. because once he gets the ship completely patched up, he'll focus on the things I want him to focus on, like repairing and restoring parts that I've salvaged going forward. So it's a good idea to get the ship up to polished up and also makes it safer. Okay, it is the new shift. So I'm going to go in here real quick and pay the mortgage. So there's the prepay, which only exists when you can pay. All right, since I'm here anyway, I'm going to fix that alarm so it doesn't keep interrupting us. All right, and it's super simple. Just hit mute. Now, when you leave the station, it's very important to flip that back on because it's going to warn you about things like you're about to crash into your target or somebody's about to crash into you. It's one of the most popular ways to die in this game. Come on, figure it out. All right. So it looks like a couple of the floor tiles need some buffing, and then he should be pretty much done inside. He's restoring conduit on the ship still, so he's not getting to those parts that I want repaired and restored. So I can go ahead and unload them, but no rush on that because we're not going to buy a new ticket until just before we leave so that we're not burning time on the ticket. Rather than just sit here doing this forever, I do think I'm going to take a little break from this and go talk to some folks or network, run a quest or a gig, just to do something a little different other than sitting here watching my character repair shit. I I am trying to. This is going to be fairly short. I don't know how many more episodes I'm going to go ahead and stream, but probably less than 15 total. We're on number 11 right now. I'm probably approaching the end of it. But I am committing to having every second actually on stream and not trying to do anything off stream. Right? Because I pretty much view this particular series as an introduction to the game and some of the possibilities for folks that aren't familiar with it yet, because it can be a little bit overwhelming. So it's very much laid out in a way to kind of teach you how to play the game without spoiling it for you. Now, you need to take that and you need to take a grain of salt with that. And if you're watching it, do watch it sort of on an episode by episode basis, um, and make sure your own game is sort of at the same point before jumping into the next one. And if you haven't bought the game, for God's sakes, what are you waiting on? This thing is awesome, and 10 minutes of watching it should tell you that. I'm gonna go ahead and force repair here. Let's see what he needs. Needs a motor. Which I swear we've got. We don't. Okay. Over here, what do we need? Okay, welding tools out of need a motor there too. Okay. So 2 motors. We'll swap out the battery. So that's probably why I was focusing on repairing the ship. Is that machine in here? Because it didn't have a tool that it needed to make this possible. Drop that back in there. Good, good. Did mean to look at these guys real quick and see if any of them are. Yeah, this needs to definitely. Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. Sorry about this. Because the drill is basically our primary install tool. The cutter is our primary uninstall tool. You need to make sure you've got juice for them at all times. Okay, let's go back to auto and see what happens here. It's working on that stack floor. And those toolboxes that I set down specifically. So, and the main reason why I'm repairing those right now is because as soon as I have a real backpack or even just a second crappy backpack, the toolboxes are going, and I want them to be fully buffed up before so I get the maximum price for it. It won't change the price hugely, but it's worth the few seconds that it takes to buff them up. So I should probably take a little break here, both myself and the character. So I think in a second here, I'm going to go inside. Uh, we're going to do some socializing and things like that with the helmet off. And, but first, we're going to take an actual break from the game. So I'll see you back in 5-10 minutes. Part 12. Looking forward to talking to you again.